Jeep Gladiator, new tire benefits. Enthusiasts understand. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Robmotive JT. And that's right, there are benefits of putting aftermarket new tires on the Jeep Gladiator, but it's typically only the true enthusiast that understands. Real quick, before we carry on, if you haven't already, don't forget to smash that notification bell and click that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. So what am I talking about? Well, you can see I happen to have a Jeep Gladiator right here. And of course, I have aftermarket tires and of course wheels on the truck. You know, I've got to say, it really does make the truck for me. And there are benefits to it. You know, first of all is just the look. Talking about just aesthetics. I know it gets kind of dark in here. There we go. It's the GoPro camera. But the look. The truck looks awesome with just a little bit bigger tires and aftermarket wheels. You know, one of the things I really didn't like about the Jeep Gladiator, and I think this goes back to when I first saw it. I've mentioned before on the channel that I wasn't a big fan of the Jeep Gladiator when it first came out. You know, I thought it was just kind of blah looking a little bit. Now, that changed, of course, once I had more exposure to it, drove it, got up close and personal with it. But the wheels and tires that it came with were still a big letdown for the Jeep Gladiator. And by the way, I'm standing in the garage because it's a nasty, nasty day here. It's raining, kind of one of those drizzly, cover-you-all kind of rains. And it's 42 degrees outside, hence the winter jacket and two other layers, I think 3 layers of shirts. But anyway, the wheels and tires that came with the truck, you know, the stock, the OEMs, at least on mine, the sport version, Sport S, I guess, to be technical, were just kind of ugly looking. They were those chromish kind of alloy wheels and just the regular all-season skinny tires. That's what I like to call them, the skinny tires. So I had to make a change. And there was an added benefit for me in doing so. I went with a 285/70 R17, of course, a 17-inch wheel. I went with black, as you guys could see out there. And I think it makes a heck of a difference in the appearance of the truck. It just makes it look a bit more aggressive, a bit meaner. Kind of makes the Jeep Gladiator look a little bit more edgy. And of course, there are all kinds of wheel options out there you can go with, as well as tires. You know, you can go with colored wheels if you want. You can go with bigger tires, different brands. I chose the Falcon Wild Peaks because in my experience so far, they have been the best tire of both worlds. In other words, I have great traction when it's wet and nasty out like it is today. And I also have good off-road capability if I choose to do some sort of off-roading. They're a nice, aggressive, kind of deep tread tire without being something that's too much. In other words, it's going to be crazy on pavement, going to be loud, noisy, and probably an uncomfortable ride as well. So the Falcon Wild Peaks, for me, best option I've come across so far. Now, I mentioned there was one other benefit. There's actually a few others. But the biggest thing for me, in addition to just the look or the aesthetics of that tire, of that combo, or really any aftermarket setup, is the height. I went with a taller tire. And that, of course, moved the Jeep up in the air a bit. And that's something I was looking at even before going with the setup that I have, and that was some sort of a lift. I wanted a higher Jeep Gladiator. But I was a little hesitant, actually a lot hesitant, because I didn't want to kill the comfort, the ride quality of the truck. And you know, I think when you put different or bigger tires and a lift, you kind of chip away a bit at the ride quality of the truck. It gets a heck of a lot firmer, or it can, depending on what setup you go with. I will say some of the setups that I'd gone with in the past on my Toyota Tacoma made the truck a heck of a lot worse when it came to ride quality and comfort. So I was a little bit shy, a little bit worried about doing that. So I went with the bigger tires. They gave me a lift of about an inch or so, something like that. And it's just enough to give me the more aggressive look that I wanted to have with my Jeep Gladiator. Now, another thing, and this is aesthetic, is the stance. You can see that the tire juts out a bit. Now that's due to the offset of the wheel, as well as a bit wider tire on the truck itself. I love the way it looks. It sticks out. It looks in this video, and I'm not sure how it's going to come out in the video, but it appears to stand out about, man, it looks like about 4 or 5 inches from what I'm seeing through the lens on the camera. And it probably is. If you look at the back wheel, and it's hard to get a good angle on the camera, but it probably is about 4 inches or so from the edge of the fender flare there to the outside edge of the tire. I love the look on the truck with it set up this way. I think it's just awesome. Now, a couple other things that I mentioned as far as the benefits to putting new tires on the Jeep Gladiator: increased capability. You now have the ability to go off-road if you want. I mentioned about it being better on the road. This particular tire brand, the Falcon Wild Peaks, when it comes to traction, had other ones, they would slip and slide around. Don't have that problem with this set. And the ride. We have to talk about the ride again. I can't stress that enough. You want to make sure if you're going to go with some sort of an aftermarket tire, unless it doesn't bother you and you're not sensitive to it, that you don't destroy the ride quality of the truck. Because nothing is worse than doing some sort of a mod and having it be lesser than it was before. I think in all the mods that I've done, both on the Jeep Gladiator and the Toyota Tacoma, I always strive to make the truck better, either aesthetically or functionally. And when I say functionally, I'm referring to things like the exhaust. Functionally might be a little bit of a stretch rather, because I put an air raid cold air intake on mine to increase the sound. And I certainly did. I have a nice little roar or grumble when I take off or get on the gas. So you have to be careful when you're doing things like that, especially when it comes to tire setup. The offset, you don't have to go with a negative. If for some reason that you don't like the tires to stick out, I know a lot of people are sensitive to having them stick out past the fenders, and somewhere, or some places rather, it's actually illegal if they stick out too far. They give you a tolerance, but it's not a whole lot. I think it's about an inch or so in places that are concerned with that. So you have to get what makes you happy. I think for me, this has made the truck exactly the way I wanted it to be when it comes to aesthetics. I love the look of it. And I have to say, it's not just me. I have had a ton of compliments out in the wild when I'm out driving the truck around about the stance of the truck and what I've done to it, and people telling me that they really like it. So there are definitely some new tire benefits with the Jeep Gladiator. I'd say before you go out, spend money on a lift and change all kinds of things suspension wise, go ahead and put a set of tires with a little bit bigger stance to it, if you will. That might just scratch your itch. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Do you like the setup? Did you do the same kind of thing? Or did you go full bore and lift it and put the giant 37s and all that on? I'd be curious to know. Again, real quick, if you didn't in the beginning, make sure you smash that notification bell and click that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. I do have 2 additional channels. Rob Motive, all about my 2021 Toyota Tacoma, and Rob Motive FST, all about full-size trucks. Currently, my Ram 1500. Check them out, and if you're interested, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.